Just waiting for people to turn up. This is what I do. I just sit here and wait. Not usually on at this time, so we'll see how many people turn up. Oh, I got a few people here already. Okay. I'm not usually on at this time, so we'll see how it goes. I like to come on at odd times because I get actually smaller groups, so I'm able to get to more questions. Because it's frustrating to me when I can't get to all the questions. And on Facebook sometimes I do, but never on Instagram. Okay, so sorry, I just got a message from one of my kids. My grandchild's due like a few days ago, so we're all on edge. Okay, wasn't from them. Okay. So your parenting questions, feel free to start now. If you want to go on the link above or in YouTube, the description, you can get my free behavior board, buy one of my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, 3 to 12 years older. You can hire me for coaching. That's one-on-one. It's done on Zoom. Doesn't matter what part of the world you're from. As long as you speak English, because that's the only language I can speak. Someone asked me if I spoke, geez, what was it? Oh, I mean, any language would be difficult other than English. And even English I struggle with sometimes. But yeah, they asked me this really random language. Do you speak this? I'm still trying to learn English. Yeah, I'm lousy at other languages. So anyway, just don't seem to have a brain that goes sideways. There's a term for that. I can't think in a different way. I can only think straightforward. Isn't that weird? Yeah, it's just the way my brain works. Okay, so parenting questions. I'll just sit here waiting. I know I look kind of weird today. I was at the gym and I kind of messed up with something, so I'm gonna have to go back again and finish up my workout. I work out every day, and yeah, I didn't do something I was supposed to do, so I have to go back to the gym. That's why I can't redo my hair or anything. I haven't showered yet. Okay, so parenting questions. I'll just wait here. Parenting questions. YouTube, if you're on YouTube, you can ask me too. This is the only place I really answer questions. I don't have time anywhere else to do it. During a tantrum, what are you to do if your toddler is initiating physical contact? Not a safety issue, but I took your... Not a safety issue, but I took your class and I'm unsure what to do during that time. My class, would that be the tantrum busting course? That one would say in there, if they are initiating physical contact, if they're just coming at you, that's okay. You're not pushing them away. You're just, so physical contact, you mean hugging? Yeah, they can hug you, but you're still just sort of waiting for the tantrum to end. You're not pushing them away. You're not walking away. You let them hug you. If they start hitting or biting, then you just push them away gently and hold them away from you a little bit. The whole idea is that you ignore the whole scene. While they're tantruming, you ignore it's the crazy zone. You ignore the crazy zone, which encourages them to go into the calm zone, because that is when you give them attention again. They will survive. If they don't survive that, like a lot of parents say, I would never ignore their emotions. If that's going to damage your little one, your child, you got bigger problems to worry about. If ignoring a tantrum is going to damage a child in any way, you got other things that are more important to worry about. Yeah, you want to connect with them, make them feel loved, make them feel safe. So yeah, they can handle it. When they're loved and they're safe, and they know that they're loved and treasured and all that, they can handle it. There was a really cute video a long time ago. It's old. You could probably still find it on YouTube. It's this little kid about 1.5 or something. He throws himself on the ground and has a tantrum. His mom is just wandering around the home doing chores. So as soon as he can't see her, he stops tantruming, gets up, falls, then he spots her again, then he throws himself on the ground again. Completely calm when he's looking for her. As soon as he spots her again, then he lays down and screams again. It was just exactly what I'm talking about. You never see a child have a tantrum in a room alone. Like, they have to have an audience. Doesn't that say something? Okay. Can you still do your methods with a 26-year-old? This is on YouTube. You know, one thing that is, yeah, a lot of stuff does transfer over to adults too. One thing in particular is if you're dealing with a difficult person, someone who comes after you and insults you or asks you to explain yourself in a really passive-aggressive way. Why would you do that? You know, this is what I learned years and years ago, and it works a charm. is if they, my name's Lisa, so obviously this is what I say. If they come at me, I say, crazy Lisa. It's kind of a little bit of a giving them the you know what, but in a very non-confrontational way. It's like, in other words, it's throwing it back at them. It's holding up a mirror to their own behavior. Crazy me. What can they say to that? So yeah, that's a really good thing to say to adults who are coming at you. What kind of consequences would you use on the behavior board for a 5-year-old who says bad words? I don't know. Check out the behavior board. There's a whole bunch of ideas on there. So a consequence could be, it's usually a chore. It doesn't, the punishment does not have to fit the crime. So if they say a bad word, you don't wash their mouth out with soap or anything like that. So if they say a bad word, just say, okay, you're going to empty the dishwasher tonight, or you're going to help me do laundry. If not, 24-hour media blackout, your choice. Your choice. And it is their choice. They can either do the positive action consequence. If they refuse to do that, then it's 24-hour media blackout, or they lose their favorite toy for a whole day. Never take away anything comforting though. If they sleep with a teddy bear or something, never take that away, because that's love. You don't take love away, but it's okay to take a PlayStation away. I know a lot of people love their PlayStation more than human beings, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so another one is with adults. This is something that I teach how to apologize effectively. And it was funny, my son was a teenager. He was always the one with the quick responses. And I said, I'm really good at apologizing. And he said, that's because you've had so much practice. Anyway, so here's how you apologize effectively. This is something that you want to do to your kids if you mess up. And you also have to have a consequence on the board, on the behavior board, whatever. But if you're not using that, this is what you do. And then it also works with adults. And remember, your kids aren't watching you, aren't listening to you. They're watching you. So if they see you do all this, okay, so here you go. This is how you apologize. It's 4 steps. Number 1 is you say, I'm sorry. It just starts the ball rolling. It's just an empty word to me. It doesn't mean much at all. I hate that when people do something and then they go, sorry. And then I'm supposed to say, that's okay. And I never do. If someone does something to me and they just say sorry and that's all they do, I just say, oh, okay then. And they go, well, you're not very forgiving. Like, I don't have anyone in my life like that, but I have in the past. You know, I'm old now. I don't have to put up with anyone I don't like. Anyway, so yeah, the word sorry is overused. It's like a get out of jail free card. It doesn't matter what someone does to you. They say, well, sorry. And you're supposed to go, that's okay. I don't do that because I know how to apologize effectively. And that's what I'm waiting for. Number 1, say you're sorry. Number 2 is take full responsibility and accountability for what you did. Don't say, I'm sorry I yelled at you, but I wouldn't have if you hadn't done that. So you see how a lot of people do that. And then the third one is really important. Make amends. Say, what can I do to make it up to you? If they don't come up with anything, you come up with something. So make amends. Go do something nice for them. And then the last one is don't keep repeating the same crime. You know, if people keep doing the same thing over and over again, that whole apology meant squat. So anyway, what if spanking is on the behavior board as a No, don't use spanking. No. If you do, that's not my behavior board anymore. Yeah. Because you'll notice that the consequences are both on the kids, not on you. So it's like they either have to do something, positive action, or they lose something. But it's never like you hit them. So yeah, no, that's not my behavior board if it's used with spanking. Okay. And lots of people spank. I know they shouldn't, but you know, they don't want to admit it. But in coaching, it comes up. These are some really smart people too, but they just lose it, right? They lose their nut because kids can really push your buttons. So they know they shouldn't, though. It's not like they go, yeah, it's okay to do that. They say, I wish I didn't. You know, I feel really bad about it. So we get into that. Okay, so questions. I'm just waiting here. It's a weird time for me to be on, so I don't know who's going to turn up. I like to do that, though, because I get smaller groups usually, and then I can answer more questions, or the bigger percentage of questions. My 12-month-old likes to hit in the face. How would you address this? You just, as soon as they hit you, it's got to be very quick. Consistent corrective actions, but that's still a baby. The consistent corrective actions don't really kick in until about 16 months, but you can start doing it. So let's say a kid hit me in the face. I would hold their hand and I would say no, and then I would just sort of push them away a little bit, like put them down or just, but there's no anger. You just let them know. When you're disciplining a baby up to 15 months, you never want them to cry as a result of your discipline. They might have a tantrum, especially if you take something away that they hit with. They're going to cry. But generally, like if you say no in a way that makes them cry, but if they hit you and you just say no, Then you hold their hand, then you might just calmly put them down. Okay, you can sit there now. And you see, I have a question. My 6-year-old gets so mad when she can't do something, when she doesn't get her way. And oh, okay, I know what's going on here. Doesn't get her way and then turns around and acts like she's going to hit me or does. Okay, that's a poor sport. It's my way or the highway. I want everything to go my way. That generally is learned behavior. You got to teach your kids how to try and fail, and that failing is okay. Is it a competitive household? Do you play to win? Do you play a lot of games and there's a winner and a loser? That builds that. Another one that builds that, are you a right fighter? Do you always have to have the last word? That also builds that. It's usually learned behavior from the parents when they don't get there at that age, by 6, okay, because that child's 6 years old. It's different at 2. So, but yeah, by 6 years old, it's usually a learned behavior. So yeah, there's shame and anger in not doing well, in not winning, and in not getting her own way. Check out my boot camp course. That might be perfect for you. It kind of goes through how to be a leader. But yeah, sore losers is definitely a learned behavior. I don't know if I've ever met a sore loser, and I've known a few in my life, who didn't have competitive parents who made winning a big deal. So yeah, I can honestly think of just a few people I've known in my life who are sore losers. They never think they are, but they're always the ones whining when they don't get the right cards, and everyone's rolling their eyes at them. Like, I was raised, my mom always used to say, because she was a real gamer and we played a lot of cards growing up, but she always said, you play to win, but just play to play well. So you play to win, you want to play well, but she goes, it's better to lose and play well than to win by luck. She hated that. She wanted it to be skill. And she never made a big deal. She'd always say, oh, geez, you played well. She never focused on the winning. I don't remember that. So both my brother and I we're not sore losers at all. We're really good sports, but we play to win. But we don't care if we win. It makes no difference in our personality. We don't get mad in any way. It's like, yeah, okay, sure. That was fun. So yeah, it is a learned behavior. But yeah, check out the boot camp course. That might be for you. By the way, you can't put "don't be a sore loser" on the behavior board. That's an attitude. You cannot address that. It happens organically. You got to start playing to play, not to win. So play games that aren't about winning, initially especially. How do you discipline a kid with autism? Oh, okay. That's special needs. That's only in coaching with me, Zoom one-on-one coaching. I don't discuss that on here. There's no point because I need to assess the situation. 26-year-old daughter still has tantrums. Sometimes I'll watch parenting fails on YouTube just to see. And it's usually with adults who are being arrested for something. It seems to pop up on my feed. And this one girl, I was watching one last night or something, I don't remember, and it popped up and it said, parenting fail. And I just like to see how parents are parenting, right? This girl was 18 years old and she had a massive tantrum because she wrecked her car and her mom wasn't going to buy her a new car. And the police had to arrest her because she was, just horrible. I mean, she was trying to hit them. It was just awful. And I just thought the parents kept trying, they often make excuses for them and say, well, she's only 17. I don't care if you're 7. You shouldn't be acting like that. She went off her nut. So it was quite funny. Why did I talk about that? It had nothing to do with what I was talking about. Oh, 26-year-olds still having tantrums. Yeah, you can still have tantrums till you're in your 50s. I've seen people in their 70s, 80s have tantrums because they were never trained out of it. You know what it is? They learned that they work eventually. If they have tantrums into their adult lives, usually it's because when they were young, they weren't trained that wouldn't work. You usually gave into their tantrums when they were young. But yeah, as adults, it's trickier. It's trickier. Because it's never their fault. Never. How do you tackle 8-year-old who's constantly taking over you in your face? Our 3- and 4-year-old doesn't do this. It's a simple finger for them, and then they'll proceed like we're done by 8-year-old is overbearing. I don't know what's going on there. I don't have a quick answer for that one. I don't know. So you've got an overbearing 8-year-old, but your 3- and your 4-year-old aren't like that. Perhaps you have a bit of a personality clash with the 8-year-old, and the other two are just easier. Is that it? Oftentimes that's the way. Oftentimes parents clash, and it's because they're a lot alike. I'm not saying you are, but that's one reason I see quite commonly in coaching. So maybe you just clash with that 8-year-old, and they pick up on that energy. That they're not your favorite. It could be it. I don't know. Anyway, if you want my help, you'd have to hire me for that because I'd have to figure that one out. I'd need to ask a lot of questions. My 9-year-old wants only wants to sleep in my room, on the couch. She says she has nightmares and wants to be near me. What? Okay, just a sec. I got to hit the see more button. It doesn't work very well. What do I do as I really want her to get a good night's sleep? Now she only wants to sleep on the couch. She says she has nightmares and wants to be near me. Like, I'm wondering, does she have night terrors, nightmares? If she has night terrors, from what I understand, not a doctor, obviously, probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if I was. Anyway, so if she has night terrors, it means that they don't wake up effectively. Like, they wake up in the middle of a nightmare and can't get out of it. So I've understood, some doctors have told me that. I get like some child psychologists for clients, and they say that's what night terrors are. So I don't know. Otherwise, I'd call her bluff and I'd say, you know what? We're going to fix up your room so that it's not scary. We're going to get sound machines. We're going to get whatever, galaxy lights, and you're going to learn how to sleep in your own room, okay? And if you don't, then there'll be consequences. Don't make them bad, but just sort of give that a go. See how it goes. You gotta sell it like you mean it, though. Oh, and just a side note, all my courses, I've got 4 toddler courses and one boot camp course. I don't do this. Someone else is downloading all the videos, but I'm putting videos on every single section in every single course. It's been requested by people. So if you've bought courses previously, they're not all downloaded yet, but they will be. Keep an eye out in the next couple of weeks, and every single section has a video. It's not just reciting what's in there. It's just sort of clarifying it. It's like, and also maybe add a couple stories in there, but it might help you. You know, everyone learns differently. I'm a video person. But anyway, so yeah, everyone learns differently, so it might help you. But don't just watch the videos, because it's not inclusive. The writing part of the courses are. Yeah, is this even when she's doing arts and crafts, she gets so mad. This is the same one who's the poor sport, I'm assuming. So mad, and then say, do you want to help? Do you want help? Oh, okay, I wouldn't do that. You're feeding that. Yeah, if they start to get angry, I'd say, let's pack it up. You're not happy doing it? Let's pack it up. There's no way I would say, do you want help? Oh, okay, you're feeding it. Yeah. So they start, I can't do this, I can't do it. I would never say, do you want help? I just wouldn't. Yeah, I would say, okay, well, obviously you're getting angry, so let's pack it all up and put it away. And then I would put up with the tantrum. You got to be willing to go through the storm to get to the rainbow. So she'll learn this ain't going to work. But every time she does it, you go into the rescue. Yeah, watch out for that. She's only 9. Is that the 9-year-old? Oh, that's going to be trouble down the road. If you're always going in and rescuing her tantrums, her fits, and whatever she doesn't like, yeah, that could be trouble down the road. Anyway, check out the boot camp course. It'll teach you how to be a leader, and you don't feed behavior like that. I've seen this before, and I know it seems like the thing to do. So your kid's having a fit. I can't do this. I hate this. I'm never going to get it right. I'm a loser. And then parents going, well, let's see if we can fix this up. So what you've just done is you said, good girl for having that screaming fit. Good girl. Let me try and get in on it. Let's feed it. Let's reward it by attention and me fixing all your problems. No way would I do that. No way. Say, well, obviously you're getting mad, so let's pack it all up. And then I would put up with the full-blown fit, scene, or tantrum. There's no way that would bother me. I'd be all ready for it. Well, they're obviously angry, so let's pack it all up. And I'd start packing it all up. They'd be screaming. I'm packing it up, calm as anything. Well, we'll pull it out tomorrow. Okay? I've worked with a lot of kids like that who were fed this, do you want me to save the day for you? Yeah, don't do that. Boy, that really will backfire down the road. She's only about 5, and sometimes she'll do it. Yeah. What do I do when I was just reading ahead. What do I do when my 4-year-old doesn't clean up her toys? We only leave out an amount that she's able to clean up, about 5. Good for you. I talk about toy rotation all the time. And sometimes she'll do it, but sometimes not. Well, there must be something that she wants to do. She must want to do something, have a snack, like something fun. So she might want to have a snack. She might want to watch TV or watch your phone or do something. Say, sure, you can do that as soon as you put your toys away. I call it the as soon as method. Make her earn that. So wait till it's something she wants. Sure, you can have a snack as soon as you put your toys away. I use that with my kids. I never told my kids what to do. I waited till when they were learning how to do the right thing and do their chores. I never told them to do them ever. I waited until they wanted something. We're going to the park. As soon as you cleaned up your room, oh, they run around cleaning their rooms, no big deal. But you did a very smart thing. You said, we only leave out an amount she's able to clean up. I was very organized and more of a minimalist, and I had a toy rotation system going. So there was never much for them to do. It was like under 2 minutes. All their chores from the age of 3, make their bed. It could just be pulling up the duvet cover, like the duvet, no big deal. Number 2 is put your clothes away. I did laundry every single day, and I had an empty hanger, an empty spot where the rolled up underwear went, and everything was very organized. And so it was very doable. And then put your toys away. All their toys were on bookshelves. And there was, and of course I had that anchored to the wall, and all their books and toys were all on bookshelves. So that it was all very easy to see. And I only had a few toys out at any given time. So there was always plenty of room for all the toys. So literally in under 2 minutes, they did all their chores. And then we went outside, no problem. So yeah, wait till she wants something. That's one way. There's other ways of dealing with it. That's sort of that's the one I did. Like I never used a behavior board. If it's a real problem and she just won't do it, then you might want to use the behavior board. And that behavior board is completely free. It's in the link. What was I going to say? No, I already said it. I was talking about the courses. Never mind. Okay, my almost 3-year-old laughs and runs away when I try to correct him. We remove toys when he starts throwing them, but sometimes he laughs, then runs away yelling out of control. I don't know how to reset him and get his attention back. Just keep taking stuff away. I don't know what's going on there. He obviously doesn't respect you at all. You want to work on some leadership skills here. So, and they're watching you. They're all about consistent corrective actions. I'm predicting you're inconsistent. Would I be right about that? Like if you're completely predictable and he knows all of his toys are going to be put away as soon as he starts acting like that, well, let's pack up your toys. Because I was a minimalist. When I said pack up your toys, it took me like a minute. And then they had nothing left to play with for an hour or whatever. It was no big deal. So yeah, when they know you're going to take action consistently, they tend to not do that. If he's almost 3, he's starting to put the pieces together. Under the age of 3, not so much. They're kind of nuts at that stage. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Sorry about the way I look. I have to go back to the gym because I forgot one of my exercises. I work out every day and I forgot something. Anyway, I'm going to have to go back there soon. After I do all these lives, I'll go back there. Okay, these are my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Enter their world to connect with them. You don't take them to the nail salon. This is for toddlers under the age of 3. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. That's how you bond with them. That's how you connect with them. It's in their world. Same thing with discipline. You discipline in their world. None of these mini therapy sessions discussing all their emotions and big feelings. What a bunch of garbage. That was invented to feed the mom's needs. Has nothing to do with toddlers. Nothing. They're about consistent corrective actions, and they learn through repetition. Okay, that's number 4. You can tell I hate those mini therapy sessions, can't you? I know they're trendy, but I've been watching these for 30 years now. They're a total disaster. Anyway, number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. Imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years, and for the first year, you were a potato laying on the mattress. They're just one marble and some tumbleweed. They're just forming. Cute as a button, but they're all feet, no brains. I know they have some brains. I tend to exaggerate everything. Okay. Are there stories of things you struggled with personally with raising kids? Not really. I would say, I was a single mom. The hardest thing for me by far was when my son, they're 5 years apart, a boy and then a girl. And when my son, we were separated. It was 20 years ago we separated. We always got along in that. But when my son was a teenager, he'd be out with his friends. And then I'd say, okay, let me know when you want me to come pick you up. And I'd have to wake up my 9, 10, 12-year-old daughter, because I'm not going to leave her asleep in a house alone. I had to wake her up in the middle of the night to go and pick up my son. That was the hardest part. I found that I felt sorry for myself. I thought, God, it'd be nice to have someone just to leave with my daughter, or even pick my son up. I had to do everything. And raising teenagers just physically, I found that waking her up, I found that really painful. I really felt sorry for myself at that time. That was really hard. So the kids' behavior was never a problem. That was it. I found that very difficult. It's horrible to have to wake up a kid in the middle of the night to go and pick up a teenager. Anyway, it's awful. I kind of forgot about that. Just brought me back to that. I thought, oh, this is awful. A little bit dramatic. But other than that, I loved it. Kids only need one leader. They only need one really good leader. And overall, I never had any problems with them as teenagers, basically, just the odd thing. I was pretty fussy with stuff too. So, but yeah, overall, they were good kids, mutual respect, we were friends and all that. Just a sec, I just have to check something. I've got a grandchild due, my first grandchild. They're overdue. And I just thought I got a message, so I have to check it. Sorry, just checking everything's really slow because I'm on so many devices here. Yeah, sorry. It's my first grandchild. I don't want to miss a message. Okay, is there so much time that parents should play with their kids? Everyone wants this. They want a number. My 6-year-old seems like she can't play by herself and she wants to be playing with her wants me to be playing with her 24/7, and she won't leave me alone until I go sit on the floor and play Barbies with her or something else. Okay. There is no set number, but you've got to put some time in every single day, whether it be 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Doesn't matter. You got to put some time in every single day. I've had clients who've actually said, I don't have time for that. And I said, well, if you don't have time for parenting, you're wasting your money on me then, because it takes time. So you have to be able to chalk out, carve out 5 to 10 minutes a day, and you play in their world. It's child-led play. You don't lead it, they lead it. Okay. Ow, sorry, I'm sweating. So yeah, you gotta find at least 5 to 10 minutes a day to play in their world, hopefully more. But then say, look, we played earlier. Right now I've got to get this done. Then you can actually say, do you want to help me do this? She'll probably say no. Do you want to help me do the dishes? Do you want to help me get dinner ready? So try to include her in what you have to get done. You want to help me do the laundry? So, but play Barbies with her for 5 or 10 minutes a day, hopefully 30. I used to always say my weapon of choice with kids, I always use that term, was humor and fun. Because when you're engaged with kids and you are fun and they know that you enjoy them, they're much more respectful. They're much more likely to listen to you, because when they feel treasured and special and liked, enjoyed, they tend to look at you a little bit differently when you develop that relationship. There was no doubt my kids knew they were absolutely treasured and I enjoyed their company. No doubt. And it made them much more, we were like friends, but I was always mom first. You're always the parent first, but we were really close. So, because they knew I wallowed in them. I wallowed in parenting. I made time for them. I had time. I was a stay-at-home mom, but even if I didn't, I know I would have always made time for them. They would have always been my top priority. Okay. Oops, I got to skip ahead because people might be gone and I'm answering older questions. Actually, I have to get going. I'm going to move over to Instagram now. That's a really busy live usually, but it's a weird time, so it might not be as many people on there right now. So anyway, if you want to join me on Instagram, come on over. It's Bratbusters Parenting. Otherwise, you can check out my behavior board, my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course. You can hire me for coaching. It's all done on Zoom, so it doesn't matter where you live. You just have to speak English because that's the only language I know. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Sorry, YouTube, I'm just have to do something on Facebook, because if I don't do it now, it disappears later. Okay, I'm on Instagram now. Instagram is my busiest live usually, so. But it's a weird time, so you never know. Hello. I sure wish I knew why Instagram, everyone turns up in like a group. It doesn't happen anywhere else, but on Instagram, everyone turns up at the same time. How is that possible? Why does that do that? Can anyone tell me? Just drives me nuts. Why is it like that over here and not anywhere else? Anyway, I need to know. Okay, so my name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on the link above, you'll see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, and you can hire me for coaching. It's all in the same link. I look like this because I forgot to do an exercise at the gym, so I'm going to have to go back there after this is done. Yeah, anyway, so that's why I look like this. Sometimes I just look like this anyway, but today I feel so gross. I haven't showered yet. We get a notification and we click. Yeah, everyone does on the other platforms too, but why does everyone turn up? Okay, 90 people are here right now. Like they all turn up in clusters. This is weird. Weird, because it happens like, I just don't know why. Anyway, I'm wasting time on absolutely nothing. If you don't care about this, sorry about that. It just, yeah, I know you get notifications, but everyone else does it too. All the other platforms. Why on Instagram does everyone turn up right at the same time? Everywhere else they filter in. I think they probably just space them out more. I think they send it to everyone on Instagram. That has to be it. They just notifications will go out in a cluster. That's why people turn on. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, let's move on, Lisa. Okay, parenting questions. Just feel free to ask. Okay, a 4-year-old taking forever to fall asleep, need a parent there. Okay, well, they don't need a parent there. They potentially are taking a while to fall asleep because you're there. And what are you doing while you're there? I'm thinking that you're either cuddling in bed with them and they really like that, but you're probably not sitting on a chair pretending to fall asleep, right? Boring as anything. They wouldn't care if you were there or not if you were doing that, but I don't do that. Not with a 4-year-old. I would do that with maybe a little one, under 16 months or under 2. But yeah, check out my bedtime battles course. That might be something that would interest you. It goes from 2 to 8 years old. Bedtime is 2 steps. It's getting them to bed and keeping them there. But yeah, potentially, are they having naps? Maybe they just aren't that tired when they go to bed. Maybe you've got to adjust their bedtime or cut back on the naps. And then parents will say to me, oh, they're just a bear if they don't have a nap. Yeah, but that's a transition phase. They're going to be a bear for maybe a few days and then they might get over it. Or you can just cut the naps in half. If they sleep for 90 minutes in the afternoon, they're 4 years old, maybe I would cut it back. I can't do half of that, 45 minutes. Yeah, just wake them up after 45 minutes. Yeah, they're going to be cranky. But if you really want results here, you have to be willing to go through some difficult stuff. Like everyone wants to avoid the fit scenes and tantrums. I know that's how you go through these transitions. That is how you go through this stuff. So I'm quite happy to go and wade through that stuff to get where I want to go. Everyone wants the rainbow, but I say you got to be willing to go through the storm to get there, right? And children, we're all kind of like this. None of us do really well with transitions, unless it's like going to Disneyland or something, which I would hate anyway, but you know what I mean. Transitions are usually a little bit tricky for adults too, let alone kids. Oh, Jasmine, I don't discuss, she's 26 years old. This is on YouTube. Yeah, that's tricky. That you'd have to hire someone who specializes in adult. That's adult to adult. The only way and I take on people who have 25-year-olds and under only on these 2 conditions. They have to be living with you and they have to be somewhat financially dependent upon you because you need some leverage, right? So anyway, yeah, you're going to have to talk to a counselor about that. But yeah, that's tricky. It's not easy. Okay. Okay, let's see here. What do you think of Montessori and teaching kids about practical life skills and engaging them in everything we do? Well, I'm not going to discuss specifically Montessori because I've never had my kids in there, but I don't have any opinion on that. That's like asking me, what do you think about the Catholic religion? I think it's a personal choice where you send your kids to school, if you homeschool, if you're Jewish, if you're Catholic, those are all personal choices. I don't have opinions on those. I just don't. That would only be my personal view, and you don't want that. You want my educated, experienced opinions on right and wrong, not just, oh, you know what I would do? Yeah, I don't think that my opinion is of any value. Like, it's just personal. So I have no opinion on Montessori, none. Personal choice. Been a nanny using your methods for a while, but pregnant now and can't wait to implement your practices on my own child. Excellent. Yeah, I don't teach anything but parenting. But a lot of people, a lot of my clients are teachers, principals, child psychologists, because they're very different roles. I couldn't do what they do. And they're very good with kids institutionally and business-wise, but home is personal. It's a completely different relationship. So, and it's not that those people with child development degrees are struggling more than other people. It's just that they want to get it right. They're learners and they want to get it right. So that's why they hire me. But yeah, and they sometimes take what I teach them and they'll sometimes use them in schools or with clients. But they're not all transferable. Not everything is transferable because a parent-child relationship is personal. very personal. So it's very different from those other roles. Some stuff does transfer over. One really good example of something that just doesn't transfer over at all is I can't stand reward charts. A reward chart for good behavior at home sends this message. You're normally rotten, but if you should happen to be good, you'll get a gold star. Whereas the behavior board says you're normally wonderful, but if you should happen to do something bad, I know how to deal with it. You see the difference? Whereas a reward chart works beautifully in school. It's an institution, it's business, and there's 30 kids on there, so they don't tend to take it as personally, right? It's just different. And it's a different relationship. Sorry, I have to keep checking my messages because I've got a grandchild overdue. So she's ripe, she's ready to go, and she's just hiding. So yeah, I'm just on edge waiting. Hitting kids at school, 4.5. I don't know what you mean. Your information is raw gold. I don't know what raw, you mean the uncooked gold? Thank you so much, Lisa. I've been doing this for a really long time, and I'm 63 now. I started volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11 years old. And even back then, the daycare workers used to ask me all the time, how do you do that? The kids want to be with you because you're fun, but they listen to you. And I didn't know how to answer, but I was really good at reading kids, and I knew how to lead. I knew how to make them feel good about themselves so they wanted to please me. That's all I did. That's all I did was make them like themselves when they were with me. And because I gave that to this, like a gift you give them, if they feel good about themselves when they're with you, they'll bend over backwards trying to please you. Advice on 4-year-old who throws toys and screams he needs space. I try the gentle parenting talk, the timeout. Well, I don't do any of that. The yelling, I don't do any of that. Okay, how to help me regulate my behavior to help him deal with his. That boot camp course might be for you. It's from 3 to 12 years old, and it's all focused on you, how to be a leader. And the only reason that you're not regulated is you don't know what to do. I wouldn't be regulated. You should see me with some stuff I have to do in my business. I can't stand a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. You should see me. Parenting, piece of cake. I understand kids, but you just got to educate yourself on how to be a calm leader, and then you will regulate your emotions. And also your children will regulate their emotions. When there's a calm leader in the house, everyone tends to be calmer. But you can be crazy fun, but when you're disciplining or you're dealing with serious stuff, then you're very calm. Yeah. So check out the boot camp course. At the minute, that costs money, but if you want just the free behavior board, sort of might get you started. It might be all you need. I don't know. You can take my courses anywhere as long as you speak English. And also, they're not all uploaded yet, but I've been adding videos to all my courses. So every section pretty much will have a video in it. It's not a duplicate for what's written. Sometimes it's just sort of synopsizing it, and other times I might throw a story in or something else. But yeah, a lot of people were requesting videos in my courses. And so I'm adding all that now, but I don't know. I have someone else putting them on there for me. So they'll all be done, I'm assuming, maybe in a couple of weeks. But if you've already bought a course, maybe check in a couple of weeks and see if the videos are there, if you're interested in going back and checking them. Okay, so yeah, I can take courses anywhere. Also, those courses are up. I don't want to say forever because I don't know what's going to happen to the internet, but I have no plans on taking them down. Then a lot of people have also asked me, what about when we check completed? You still can go back in and look at the course. It's not like it disappears when it completes. That's for reference material too, especially the boot camp course. If you buy it with a 3-year-old, you're going to want to look at it again in 9 years with your 12-year-old. There's a lot of stuff on there that just is for certain ages. So I suggest you read it all, though, just to get an idea of what's coming for older kids. But then, yeah, there's all sorts of reference material on there, too, for different things like how you talk to your kids about sex and online safety and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, that's up there for as long as it's up there. I have no plans on taking it down. Okay, as above, I have a 16-month-old also that is adamant she wants to climb furniture. So you got a climber. There are 4 traits that kids are either born with and they're going to do or they're never going to do them. Shoot, I lost all my train of thought here. I don't know why I have to look this up. Why I say this every day? Why do I have to keep looking it up? Anyway, there are 4 traits that they're born to do. So it's not your fault they do them, but if they're still doing them like past the age of 3.5 or 4, then you might want to sort of figure out what you might be wanting to improve in yourself. So these are 4 traits. One is tantrums, obviously. They're either going to have them or they're never going to have them. My son had them. My daughter never did. I've never had one. It's just a temperament. You're born with it. Now, and the other one is climbing, because you mentioned a climber. They're either going to do it or they're not. And that one, because they have no fear. Running is another one that's no fear. They often go together, but they're not always. Runners aren't always climbers and vice versa. What I suggest you do with climbers is childproof your home as much as possible, or put bells on things that they move to climb with, or get alarms on things. Or put a bell on your kid if you want to know where they are all the time. And then I already said the runners. If they are runners, so they run away in traffic and everything, they just don't listen to you, put a harness on them when you go out. As soon as they take off, clip them in. And you keep them clipped into that leash or restraint or whatever you want to call it. Keep them clipped in for as long as you are out in that outing. Yes, they're going to have a fit. But I always say, if you want the rainbow, you got to go through the storm. They're going to kick up a storm when you first start disciplining, right? And that's okay. That's their process. Okay. You know, a lot of people, not many people have fought me on this, but years and years ago, they used to. I'm never going to put a leash on my kids. So you'd rather than be flattened by a bus? Like, how does that make any sense? You restrain them in the car. Why wouldn't you restrain them in the streets? And out in the stores, any freak could pick up your kid. If they run down an aisle and you can't see them, there are freaks everywhere. Trust me. I've worked with a lot of kids who, I don't know, I won't go into it. I'll tell you a story though. I was in a supermarket with I think it was my son, but I think it was my son. Anyway, I was holding him. He was just a baby. And I'm in the supermarket. And this man comes, I was just about to put him in the car. I don't know if he was in the cart yet. I don't know. Anyway, so this man comes over and he goes to touch my baby's face. Isn't he cute? And I said, sir, please don't touch my baby. And he says, well, aren't you a helicopter mom? And he goes to touch him again. I said, listen, freak. I said, if you touch my baby, I'm calling the cops. He ran. I just knew. My spider sense went, this guy's a pedophile. I just knew it. Anyway, so sure enough, all the staff just about applauded me. They said, we've been trying to get rid of him for years. He keeps coming and touching kids. So I just knew. As soon as he did that, he got mad at me and went to touch my kid again. Don't be afraid to say something like that. I had no fear whatsoever. That's my kid you're trying to touch. Anyway, so yeah, all sorts of freaks out there. So there's no way I'd want to lose sight of my kid. So if they're runners, lock them in. Who gives a hoot what other people think? If someone judges you for that, say, whatever. Who cares? That's my kid. 3.5 dashes off in public at random. Get a harness and a leash. I lost sight of one of my kids once, and it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 seconds. It was that fast. It was my son. Could not find him anywhere. I was like this, freaking out. He was right behind me. He was right under my butt, basically. Just couldn't spot him. I can't remember if that was a time, but I was looking for him another time where it was safer, and someone pointed it out. They said, he's right there. Oh my God, where are you? He's right there. But yeah, there's nothing worse than losing sight of your little one when you're out in public. How to help teach my 3-year-old to clean up after herself. Okay, there's a couple of different ways. I never used a behavior board, but you can actually put down, and you got to be very specific though. Put toys away when asked to do so, but make it manageable. I did a toy rotation system, plus I'm very organized and I'm a minimalist. So there was a spot for everything. So it was very easy and very doable. If it's a cluttered playroom, that's not fair to ask kids to clean up. I just think that's unreasonable, especially a little 3-year-old. I don't like playrooms. I like my kids near me. I didn't want to be in the kitchen and them in a playroom. I've even known people who built homes with a playroom and another floor. I just thought, wow, that's someone who doesn't want to be around their kids. I just don't get that. So anyway, but yeah, I'm not saying you don't love your kids, but I want my kids with me playing anyway. So there's 2 ways. You can put toys away within 10 minutes of being asked to do so. Then put a timer on. Use a timer. Say, 8 more minutes, 6 more minutes. You can do a countdown, but don't remind them to put their toys away. Just keep giving them reminders because they're awfully little. The other way to do it is wait till there's something that they want. Oh, can I please have a snack? Say, sure, as soon as you put your toys away. That's what I did. I used the as soon as method. That's why I never told my kids what to do. If I wanted them to do something, I'd wait till they wanted something. Can we go to the park? Sure, as soon as you put your laundry away. They'd run and do it. And then they just started doing it without being reminded. They just got into the habit. They were self-disciplined. They just got in the habit. And then they became teenagers and then that all went to heck. You got to let stuff go in the teen years. Don't micromanage teenagers. You can try, but good luck with that. Teenagers are actually my favorite age. I'm going to read out my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. There's 3 tips. This is for teenagers. Number 1 is listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. By the way, they already know it, okay? Number 2 is you negotiate pretty much everything. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper. What do you want from me? You can't, it's not a blanket statement. You don't do it with absolutely everything, but you do it with this a lot. So it's like give and take, right? They're much more receptive, and it's a respectful thing to do. Number 3 is don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. I just kind of mentioned that. You let stuff go. Save your energy for the big stuff. My son was, I think he was 15, and he said to me, "You've been a really difficult mom to have." And I was like, "What?" I thought it was great. We were like buddies. You know? I was like, "What?" And he says, "I've got nothing to rebel against. You're too reasonable and easy to talk to." And he wanted to rebel. He had that in him. And I said, "Fine, go clean your room." And he never did. So I just had 2 rules: no eating in your room, and no, what was the other one? Oh, no dirty laundry in your room. I had the hamper right, he was near the laundry room, so I had the hamper right outside his door. So those are the only 2 rules: no food or drink in your room, and dirty clothes have to go in the hamper right away. And that was it. And he followed those 2 rules. But his room was, oh, a disaster. Every so often I'd say, "Can I go in and clean?" And he'd say, "Sure." And I'd go in and just organize it from top. I love cleaning and organizing. So, but yeah, every so often I'd do that. But you gotta let some stuff go. So those are my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. You know why they're my favorite age? Because once you know how to get the mutual respect going, they are fascinating. They're turning into adults. You can just see this transformation happening. So if you're not dealing with all the rebellion and resentment, which I didn't have any of that. So there was none of that tension with my teenagers. So yeah, it's just fascinating watching them turn into adults. I just loved it. It's kind of sad too, because I love parenting, and you know, it's kind of the beginning of the end, right? Sorry, I'm going to go to the most recent question in case people have left. I used the "as soon as" this morning to get my 4-year-old to make his bed. He screamed for an hour while we all ate breakfast. He's learning. He's learning. If that's not working, because I already had some respect anyway, that's why it worked. So if that's not working, try putting it on the behavior board. So, and you say something like this: make your bed within 5 minutes of being asked to do so. You have to be very specific. You don't just say you have to make your bed before you eat breakfast. It's too like when, why, how. Yeah. 5-year-old won't stand timeout. That's because it's a miserable place to be. I hate timeout. I think it's humiliating and mean. I would never do it. Yeah, I don't do that. Just keep watching and you'll see everything else I do. You want to address bad behavior, but you focus on the good kid. Everyone asks about discipline, but that's not what I do with kids. Really, what I do with kids, how I got such respect was I connected and bonded with them. I understand kids, and I always connect with them in their world. Never expect them to come up to in my world. That's very self-absorbed. I always met them in their world. So I connected and bonded with kids. Then why would they act out with me? They felt they liked themselves. They felt good about themselves when they were with me. So therefore they try and please me. I've worked with hundreds of kids and troubled teenagers and everything. It just works. So yeah, discipline is a tiny part of this. You deal with bad behavior like that, get it over with, and then you focus on the good kid. You guys must have heard the pool story a million times. If you want to hear the pool story, I'll tell it. It absolutely encapsulates what I think parenting is all about. And it's the pool story. Anyway, if you want to hear it, you've probably all heard it a million times. If anyone wants to hear it, let me know and I'll tell it. Okay. Okay. Huge tantrums whenever it's time to leave child, is 5.5 years old and has extreme tantrums with all transitions. Okay. That's because you feed it, I'm assuming. Okay. Past the age of 3.5 to 4, if they're still acting like that, it's only because it's working. You must feed it somehow, because they don't keep doing what doesn't work past the age of about 3.5 to 4. They stop doing what doesn't work. They're not stupid like us adults. I'm terrible with this. I do the same thing repeatedly expecting different results. I don't do it with everything, but sometimes I do. And I'm like, why do I do that? And I keep doing it. Kids don't. If something isn't working, they move on to something new. They're very pliable. They don't get set in their ways like we do. Okay, sorry, I just got another message. I have to look at it. Just because I'm expecting a grandchild, so. And I get a lot of messages, so I have to keep checking. Yeah, okay, that's fine. The baby's overdue, so. Come on, kid. Jeez. Keeping us all waiting. Whoops. You said. Let's hear the pool story. Okay, I'll tell the pool story. It's worth repeating. I tell it almost every single day. Anyway, this is the pool story. It's a true story. My son, it was his 8th birthday party. My husband took our daughter out somewhere else, and it was just me, and I was there. I was doing the birthday party with 6 8-year-old boys in the pool. I think my husband came back later with our daughter, but he was out at this time. So anyway, they're all in the pool. Now I said, before they get in the pool, I said, by the way, I'm here on my own. All I'm doing is counting heads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's all I'm going to be doing. So Whaley cannot go in the pool. Whaley was a giant blow up toy, and I put it way off in the distance. I didn't want to let the air out because they're 8 years old. They can understand no. And also, we didn't have a foot pump or anything. I would have had to have blown this huge thing up. So I said, Whaley cannot come in the pool. I can't see behind him. So 3 kids could drown behind Whaley. Okay, have fun. Sure enough, one of the kids brought Whaley in the pool. So I said to him instantly, I said, Whaley, out of the pool now. He said to me, no. And my son went like this because he knows mom knows how to take care of business. I love this stuff. I was in the pool like that, fully clothed. And I dragged this kid out, 8 years old, and I sat him down beside me. And I said, you're going to sit there for 10 minutes now. So I said, 10 minutes now. Anyway, so while he's sitting there, my son got Whaley out of the pool and all these other boys are having fun. So I'm counting 5 kids now. The whole time he's sitting there, I'm talking about soccer. I saw him play soccer the other day. He got a goal in soccer. I had helped him. I used to help him at school. I had helped him do a test at school. And I said how well he had done on the test. Then I asked him what PlayStation games he likes. So beep, 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 10 minutes is up. I said, okay, 10 minutes is up. Go have fun. I couldn't get rid of him. He kept talking and talking and talking, and I could not get rid of this kid. I kept looking at my son like, help! And finally, my son got him back in the pool because they wanted to play basketball. We had all these hoops in the pool. So he said, look, we need 3 kids for each side. So finally, I got rid of him. He was all over me for the rest of that party. Can I help you with the cake, Lisa? What can I help you with? Oh, geez, it was like a leech. He was all over me. Okay, so now I'm going to break down what I did there. First of all, I set down the rules and why. They're 8 years old, no Whaley in the pool, kids could drown behind it. So I was very definite. And then when he took Whaley in the pool, I didn't say, can you please take Whaley out of the pool? This is a safety issue. So I said, Whaley out of the pool now, very calmly, but I let him know. And I'm pointing out of the pool now. When he said no to me, I took action. I do not debate with children. This is a safety issue. He broke the rule. 3 kids could drown. I was in the pool. I took action. Pulled him out of the pool, just under my arm, got him out of the pool, sat him down, and I just said, you'll sit there for 10 minutes now. Then I've already done it. I've done the discipline. That's it. It's all over. It's all over it. Now I'm bonding with him. I'm making him feel good about himself. I'm building him up. Because I know, because I've worked with hundreds of kids, I know that if they like themselves when they're with me, they want to please me. They'll do anything to try and please me because they feel good about themselves. He looked up to me. I'd already worked with him before, but he had ADHD and all sorts of other stuff, so he kept forgetting to be good. But anyway, so I'm trying to build him up. Then when the 10 minutes was up, I would never say, go back in the pool now and don't take Whaley in the pool. I would have erased all the good work I did. I would have reminded him of what he did wrong. All of a sudden, I'm treating him like the bad kid again. No, you deal with bad behavior, then you focus on the good kid. So I said, okay, 10 minutes is up. Go back in the pool and have fun. And then I couldn't get rid of him. Anyway, the funny part was his mom picked him up hours later, and she said, were you as rotten as always? He kicked her in the shin, and off they went. So she was just at her wit's end. He was a handful. Anyway, so that's how you parent. You deal with bad behavior, but then you focus on the good kid. Build them up, and they'll want to please you because you make them feel good about themselves. What if I'd sat there and these mini therapy sessions, they're just garbage. And you know why you shouldn't have done that? And oh, geez, shut up. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, so yeah, if you nag on and remind him of everything he did wrong, wouldn't you get a different result than the one I did? You see? Well, anyway, that's the pool story. I love that story. It's a true story. I've worked with hundreds of kids. It just works. When they feel good about themselves when they're with you, it doesn't mean I ignore bad behavior at all. I never do. I'm very fussy about that. I never ignore bad behavior, but I deal with it like that, and then I focus on the good kid. And then next thing you know, you don't get any bad behavior, right? Okay. What time is it? Actually, I got to move over now. I'm going over to TikTok now. So if you want to join me over there, you feel free. It's the same name, Bratbusters Parenting. And what's I going to say? Oh yeah, check out my link above and you can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, or you can buy the big boot camp course. That's from 3 to 12 years old. That is all about you and your leadership. The kids are sort of almost incidental. It's all about leadership, how you lead. Anyway, and then also if you want my extra help, that's one-on-one coaching with me. That's all on the same link. So thanks so much for joining me. And you can come over to TikTok. By the way, I'm on YouTube the whole time. All these lives are being filmed on YouTube and they're all saved on YouTube also. And I don't know why I said saved on YouTube, just for drama. Anyway, I'll see you on TikTok. Oh, discard, discard. Sorry, YouTube, I'm just getting on TikTok now. Do you know how I remember which one I'm supposed to be on? They're in alphabetical order. I used to do them out of order, and I sometimes would double up and do the wrong one. Okay. Okay. I'm going to answer this. Chris on YouTube. Hello, I have a question on parenting my 3, almost 4-year-old when I have co-parent who doesn't work with me at all. Nothing I can do about that. Unless you can give me access to yourself and your co-parent, then I could talk to you both. But I can't help you with that. Yeah, I can't help you control another adult's behavior. Does that make sense? Yeah. Unless I was working with you one-on-one and they would actually be willing to work with me too. And I'm not on anyone's side at all. I'm on everyone's side. I want everyone to get along. I did that. I co-parented. Um, yeah. I was always the leader though. And he loved the way the kids were, their behavior. So we supported each other. Like there was none of that at all. I was lucky that way. We both took the high road. So, but yeah. I love when you say happy parenting when you leave. Oh, I should say it more often. The reason why I don't is I used to say it all the time. And then someone said, well, I ain't so happy. A lot of people are struggling with parenting. So I stopped saying it for a while. I used to put it everywhere on my emails and everything, happy parenting. But too many people were making that comment, oh, who says it's happy? I'm miserable. So yeah, I kind of stopped saying it, but it comes out every so often. I've been doing this for so many years now, but I always used to use that. Okay, so parenting questions, feel free to ask away. I'm right here. If you go on the link above, you can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, 3 to 12 years old. All the focus is on you with all of this. I teach parenting. I don't teach toddlering, teenagering, kidding. It's all about you. It's all your leadership. You lead, they will follow. Children naturally need, crave, and want a leader. Anyway, also in that link above is coaching one-on-one with me. That's that top level because I get to know you and I get to know your strengths and weaknesses and I work around that. Trying to get the best results for you. So anyway, let's get going with your parenting questions. I look like this because I forgot to do an exercise at the gym. So I'm going to have to go back there. Ugh. I go every morning. I just forgot something. And as I was leaving, I thought, oh, phooey. Anyway, I'll go back later. I love going to the gym, but I don't like going back twice in one day. Grandma, grandpa, daycare, we don't seem to please the parents. Oh, good luck with that. Yeah, there's nothing I can tell you. Because I don't know the parents, so I don't know what to say. I've got my first grandchild due a few days ago, so we're all anxious for that. I don't live really close by to them, so I don't know, and they'll be off work for a little while anyway. I don't know if I'll do the daycaring, because luckily her parents live really nearby, and they're retired, whereas I work, right? So it's just different. But yeah, good for you for daycaring. That's very nice of you, because you have to give up a lot of your own lives when you do that too, right? But you'll do anything to help your kids, so good for you. I'm just saying, well done. Good for you. There's something I want to say here because you said we don't seem to please the parents. I'd be tempted to say, would you be more pleased if you had to put them in public daycare and pay for it? Like, yeah, that would be pleasing, wouldn't it? But my kids would expect that. I would say that. We got a notice from the parents, my son and his girlfriend, about the baby, about the birth. And it was I guess they copied and pasted it, but I thought they don't, they sent it to me and I just kind of laughed because this is me anyway. But yeah, please don't kiss our newborn because until she gets some immunizations and that. So I guess that's okay. I would have loved to have been able to send that out back 34 years ago when my son was born, because I was horrified when people would just kiss them and all over him and then they'd cough and it's just it wasn't socially acceptable to send that out. And I thought, oh, good for them. They can just send that out. Like that's socially acceptable, especially after what we've just been through the last few years. But yeah, they would have known. I probably would have laughed at that because that's me anyway. And my son said during the pandemic, he says, Mom, you've been practicing for this your whole life because I'm really fussy. So it was funny. Yeah, mask. We should all wear masks all the time and disinfect constantly. I think that we should all live like that at her home. Grandparents. Yeah. I would say a few things. I wouldn't, yeah, you know what I'm thinking, right? They didn't appreciate me daycaring. Yeah, they could find someone else. And I would follow through. My kids know that too. I would follow through. I just would. They'd probably last one day in someone in other daycare before they said, "You're great." Well, I don't really want to answer this, but I will because I know it's a common question, and I'll tell you why I don't want to answer it, but I will. My 10-month-old is starting to throw tantrums. What do I do? Not much. Nothing. Put up with it. My son had tantrums. They start when they're babies. And I would just, if he was having a tantrum, I probably would cart him around. I wouldn't talk to him or look at him because you don't ignore a baby when they're having a tantrum. You got to carry him around. They'll bang their head on the table or something. So I would cart him around. I'd look like I didn't even notice. So I'd still ignoring him, but I'm holding him. So I'd be doing my chores and la, 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 while he's screaming. So yeah, but just to keep them safe, you just hold on to them. He's just revving up. So yeah, they'll probably get worse. Just warning you, it's temporary. A lot of people say, yesterday I was doing a live and this woman mom wrote down, she goes, "I got 3 teenagers. I'd give my life for them to be toddlers again and having tantrums." It's funny. My son is 4 and has tantrums daily. He should be growing out of that by now. So you might want to check out my toddler tantrum busting course, or actually the better one would be the boot camp course because he's 4 years old now. So check that out. And if you're interested, it just sort of tells you how to deal with tantrums as they get older, especially. But yeah, if you're still having tantrums, you know what that says to me? It means they must work, or they've worked in the past. Because past the age of 3.5 to 4, they only do what works. If tantrums are somehow working, if there's a payoff for having a tantrum, they're going to keep doing them until they're 40 or 50 or 70 or 80. Yeah, they only do what works past a certain age. So they must be working. There's got to be a payoff. 3.5 still has them. Yeah, they will. Just that when you get good at ignoring tantrums effectively, they will start to minimize in duration, frequency, and intensity. And then by about 3 to 3.5 to 4, they should be kind of disappearing. What's an alternative to timeouts? Check out my behavior board. That's where you put all the discipline, is how to deal with it. But yeah, timeout, can't stand timeout. I think it's humiliating and mean, and it doesn't teach them anything. You go in that corner, you think about what you did. They're not. They're in the corner feeling like crap about themselves. You don't want kids to feel rotten about themselves. You want them to be angry that they're not getting their own way, but you don't want them to feel like crap about themselves. There's a big difference between the two. Daughter wants to, oops. Okay. Daughter wants to do everything herself, but well, I don't know how old she is. Is she 6 months old or 16? I need an age. When my 16-month-old hits, I tell her no and then place her in a playpen and cries. Is that wrong? It's like timeout. Yeah, I don't like it. When I'm disciplining, I want to be right there. Like I wouldn't place them somewhere. Like I know if you got a newborn, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you have to do things that I wouldn't recommend just because you got to do stuff, right? So you've got other kids that they might be chasing around and hitting. I don't know. But generally, no. If they hit, I don't invite it, but I keep letting them come at me because I want to keep correcting, because they learn through consistent corrective actions. They learn through repetition. So if they keep coming at me and then I say no, and I just sort of hold them away for a minute, then I let go and they come at me again. I just no. Keep doing it over and over. I can always outweight them. If you let it get to you, so you do the right thing for maybe a minute or 2 or 5 minutes, and then you give up, they just win. They won. And they know it too. Because then they'll get worse each time because they'll think, eventually I'll win. She'll eventually pick me up or bribe me with something. So yeah, that's how I deal with it. I want them near me when I'm disciplining. That's why I hate timeout. You send them away. I want them right here. I want to show them I'm a leader. I know what I'm doing. That's why when I pulled that kid out of the pool, I told that on Instagram, didn't I? I didn't tell it here. You've heard it a million times anyway, the pool story. When I pulled that kid out of the pool, did I put him somewhere else? No way. He's sitting right beside me and I'm chatting to him the whole time. We're having fun. We're bonding. I'm connecting with him, making him feel good about himself. He did something rotten. Now I'm making him feel good about himself. So he won't do that again. He didn't do anything like that for the rest of the day. Oops. Okay. Try to explain her frustration, feelings, etc. It definitely helps. Oh, you're talking about mini therapy sessions? You're in the wrong place. I don't do that at all. At all. I got a million reasons why I don't. But anyway, yeah, you're in the wrong place. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I hate it. Like, I'm sure there's lots of people who teach all that. I don't have many therapy sessions with children at all. It's an organic process. Feelings and emotions are processed organically from having a strong connection with them. Yeah. Um, and then when they're great, you talk about anything. But when they're acting out, there's no freaking way I would have a mini therapy session. No way. Oh, I could go on. I could feel myself. Hmm. I saw that coming 30 years ago. That pleaser parent style. I saw that coming 30 years ago. It started with participation awards, and I said, "Oh my God, are we in for it?" Because it was picking up steam. Because it's really feeding the mom. It's all about feeding the mom, making her feel better. And the kids, they're raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. They're all victims. They're all tantrum. Oh, it was just a nightmare. Anyway, so yeah, the mini therapy sessions came along for the ride on that style. Disaster. Do you treat all tantrums the same? My 3-year-old has fake ones, but some seem like she can't calm. Yeah, I would ignore that. Yeah, I would. Yeah. The only time you ever intervene is if they're hurting themselves, someone else, or damaging property. But if they are damaging property and they're older and bigger, you just have to put up with it. You don't intervene when they're big, and especially if they're bigger than you and they're teenagers. You have to let them tear a few doors off the hinges. What are you going to do? You're going to get into a brawl with them? They're not going to give in. So yeah, it's just going to get really ugly. So yeah, if it gets to that elevated point, because I deal with this stuff in coaching, right? So if it goes there, you don't intervene. But you still try to intervene if they're hurting themselves or someone else. It's only if they're damaging property. With older, bigger kids, you do not stop them. Yeah. We teach our 2-year-old to take deep breaths to calm herself down during tantrums. Is it mini therapy? It's not a tantrum if they're going to take deep breaths. It's not. Yeah, it's not a tantrum then. There's no way a 2-year-old is going to take deep breaths during a real tantrum because you said take deep breaths. Yeah, it's not a real tantrum. And a lot of people, some people have sent me videos and they said they're calling this a tantrum. And no, it's not a tantrum. Yeah. Not all kids have them. Oh, my daughter said it. Oh, I need the age. I can't answer it if I don't know the age. Is she 16, 6, 2? I don't know the age. Very different answers for all those different. 4-year-old runs all over the classroom and throws toys. I don't always have a teacher assistant. Oh, you're a teacher. I can't help you with that. I don't know anything about teaching. I teach parenting. Huge portion of my clients are teachers, principals, and child psychologists, but that's all business and it's institutional ways of dealing with children. I teach parenting. It's personal, completely different. So I can't teach you the institutional way of dealing with children. I don't do that. So yeah, but a lot of my methods can transfer over, but not all of them can. So I don't, and I'm not the one who decides which one goes over. Thoughts on gentle parenting? I don't have a clue. I've never looked at any other parenting style. I stay in my lane. I am kid taught. I've never read a book on kids or parenting. Why would I? Why on earth would I? Kids taught me all this. So why would I listen to some adult telling me what to do? It just, to me, makes no sense at all. Because all of my knowledge comes from children, teenagers, toddlers, babies, kids. All of my knowledge comes from working with kids. So why on earth would I care what another adult says? It means nothing to me. Nothing. I'm experience based. So yeah. Okay. I love teenagers, my favorite age. My 13 and 14-year-old boys think they get to make all choices and get mad when it's not their way. I'm going to read out my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. Other than that, I don't have a course on teenagers. You'd have to hire me if you're really struggling anyway. Even if I had a course, if you're really struggling with teenagers, that would be coaching. I do crisis work with teenagers, and it's not necessarily, you're not necessarily in crisis, but if it's really bad. Okay. So here's my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers, and you're probably not going to like the middle one. Number 1 is listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will tune you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it, and they already know it anyway. Here's the one you're not going to like. You negotiate pretty much everything. You say, I want you to put your dirty clothes in the hamper. What do you want from me? It's not a blanket statement. You don't negotiate everything, but kind of try to. Number 3 is don't sweat the small stuff. If you try and micromanage a teenager, good luck with that. Save your energy for the big stuff if you even ever have it. So don't try and micromanage a teenager. Don't let the small stuff go. If they make a mistake, say, well, that was stupid and it's not a big deal. Say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? Laugh it off. Say it's okay to make mistakes. We all do lots of stupid stuff in our life, and that's okay. That's how we learn. If you're not failing and making mistakes in life, you're not growing, because that's how we grow. I try and learn something new every single day. I'm very curious. I like to know what's going on. A lot of my friends are really young, like a lot younger, because they still have that. I'm in my 60s now. People in their 60s don't tend to be as much that way. I'm generalizing. I'm sure there's a lot who do. You know who I relate to? I don't follow him at all, but Richard Branson. He always seems to be like a toddler, and I kind of have that in me too. I get it. He's always sort of excited about stuff. I have no interest in space and a lot of the stuff he does, but I get that. I get that, kind of that excitement. Why was I talking about that? Oh, anyway, why was I talking about that? Teenagers? Can't remember. Anyway, if you listen to okay, I've learned more about myself and life from than anywhere else with teenagers. When I was working with teenagers, mentoring them, they taught me more about myself and life than anyone else ever has. Because you got to be patient. You got to listen to them. And they're going to tell you, believe me, they can find a flaw in you if they want to. They are like spies. They can get in there and just find anything to get on your nerves. So you just can't allow that kind of stuff to happen at all. But yeah, they're going to teach you more about patience and life and understanding. And yeah, so that's why I said listen to understand and show empathy rather than gathering information to lecture with. So yeah. They're the ones who told me to do this. They said, you got to teach this stuff, Lisa. No one's ever talked to us like you have. So they told me to start my business. And then, of course, I didn't listen for years. So silly me. Anyway, I love teenagers. They're fascinating. What time is it? Actually, I have to get going. I got to go back to the gym. I forgot to do an exercise. Ugh, I hate going back. Serves me right. Anyway, so I got to get going. I got a busy day ahead of me, so I have to go. Thanks so much for joining me. If you go on the link above, you can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, so you can hire me for one-on-one coaching if you're really struggling or you just want that extra support. A lot of what I deal with in coaching is marriage problems. I'm not a marriage counselor, but if you're having problems in your marriage because of parenting, I can help you with that. But even then, there's no guarantees with any of this stuff. But I have a lot of experience discussing that, because if you're having problems with your kids, chances are your marriage might be suffering too. So it's only normal. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'll be back again sometime tomorrow. I don't know when, or I might not. I've got a grandchild due, and we don't know. She's overdue, so I don't know. If I'm not here, it's because I'm probably at the hospital. So thanks so much for joining me, and we'll talk again soon. Happy parenting.